The grand halls of the Galactic Academy of Xenobiology sparkled under the light of three suns. The building itself was a marvel of engineering, designed to accommodate students from over 1,000 different species. Some floated in special tanks filled with their home atmosphere, while others walked on the ceiling using gravity manipulation devices. In Lecture Hall 7, Professor Dahyun stood before his class. Unlike his alien students, he was a normal-looking human man with gray hair and kind eyes. He wore the traditional blue and silver uniform of the academy, though his didn't need any special modifications like those of his students. "Today," he said, tapping his digital display, "we will discuss a very special research project." The professor's voice carried through various translation devices, letting each student hear him in their native language. "We will study a planet that many consider impossible, Earth." The lecture hall filled with surprised murmurs and the equivalent of gasps from various species. Some students changed colors, others vibrated, and a few released scent signals expressing their shock. Keita, an Arvaxian student with crystalline skin that sparkled like diamonds, raised his hand. His transparent fingers caught the light, creating small rainbows on the desk. "Professor, isn't Earth classified as a Class 13 Deathworld? Why would we study such a dangerous planet?" Professor Dahyun smiled. "Excellent question, Keita. Yes, Earth is indeed a Class 13 Deathworld. But it's also the only known Deathworld that has produced a spacefaring civilization. That makes it unique in our galaxy." Hanul, a Malorian student whose skin rippled with waves of blue and green colors, signaled her wish to speak. Unlike most species, Malorians communicated primarily through color patterns, but she used a translation device to convert her thoughts into words. "Professor, I've read that Earth's gravity alone would crush most species. How do humans survive there?" "That's exactly why this research is so important," Professor Dahyun explained, bringing up a holographic image of Earth. The blue and green planet spun slowly in the air above his desk. "Earth has what we consider extreme conditions: powerful gravity, dramatic temperature changes, and an atmosphere full of corrosive oxygen. Yet humans not only survived but built civilizations there." Young Mei, a Zentaran student with 6 eyes and highly developed analytical abilities, joined the discussion. Her species was known for their logical thinking and precise calculations. The historical data shows that humans developed technology much faster than any other known species. Could their harsh environment be responsible for this rapid advancement? The professor's eyes lit up with excitement. "That's a fascinating theory, young Mei. In fact, that's exactly the kind of thinking we need for this project." He looked around the room, taking in the diverse group of alien students. "I will select 3 of you to conduct detailed research on Earth. You will not just study data, you will visit Earth itself." The room erupted in a chaos of reactions. Some students retreated into protective shells, others changed colors rapidly, and a few even produced defensive spores in their shock. The idea of visiting a death world seemed absolutely crazy to most of them. "Keita, Hanul, and Young Mei," Professor Dahyun announced, "you 3 have shown the most promise in understanding extreme environments. Would you be willing to take on this challenge?" Keita's crystalline body sparkled with nervous energy, but he stood up. "Yes, Professor. My species can withstand extreme radiation and pressure. I believe I can handle Earth's conditions with proper protection." Hanul's skin shifted to a determined shade of purple. Through her translator, she said, "My people are natural observers of emotions and behavior. I would be honored to study how humans interact with their deadly environment." Young Mei's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among Zentarans. "The statistical probability of gaining groundbreaking insights from this research is high. I accept the challenge, Professor." "Excellent." Professor Dahyun began bringing up detailed holograms of Earth's various environments. "Before you can visit Earth, you need to understand what you're getting into. Let's start with basic survival requirements." The next few hours were filled with information that seemed impossible to the alien students. They learned that humans could survive temperature variations of over 100 degrees. Their bodies could heal from broken bones and torn flesh. They could even eat food that would be toxic to most species. But the most remarkable thing about humans, Professor Dahyun explained, showing videos of human cities, is their ability to adapt and innovate. When they can't survive in an environment, they don't give up. They change the environment itself. Keita studied the holographic displays with fascination. His crystalline fingers moved through the data streams, analyzing human biological systems. Professor, humans have no natural armor, no significant claws or fangs, and relatively weak muscles compared to many species. How did they become the dominant species on their planet? That's one of the mysteries you'll need to solve, the professor replied. Humans have something that many species don't understand. They have incredible endurance and an unbreakable spirit. Hainul's skin rippled with curious patterns of green and gold. I noticed that humans show strong emotional responses to danger, yet they don't seem paralyzed by fear. How do they maintain psychological stability in such a hostile environment? Professor Dahyun nodded approvingly. Another excellent question. Humans have developed complex emotional and social structures that help them cope with their environment. You'll need to study these aspects just as carefully as their physical adaptations. Young Mei had been quiet for a while, all 6 of her eyes focused on calculating something. Professor, I've analyzed the data, and there's something strange. The conditions on Earth should have slowed down evolution and technological development, but they seem to have the opposite effect. Humans advanced faster because of their harsh environment, not despite it. The professor's face broke into a wide smile. Now you're beginning to understand why this research is so important. Earth isn't just a death world. It's a forge that created one of the most remarkable species in the galaxy. He walked to each of the 3 selected students, handing them special data crystals. These contain your research parameters and safety protocols. You'll have 1 week to prepare before we depart for Earth. Remember, this isn't just about collecting data. It's about understanding how a species can turn deadly conditions into advantages. As the other students filed out of the lecture hall, Keita, Hainul, and Young Mei stayed behind, examining their data crystals. Each crystal contains specialized information suited to their species' particular strengths and observation abilities. I suggest you 3 work together to prepare, Professor Dahyun advised. Each of your species sees the world differently, and those different perspectives will be crucial for understanding Earth and its people. Keita's crystalline body reflected his nervous excitement in rainbow patterns. Professor, what should we focus on first? Start with the basics, the professor replied. Study Earth's daily cycles, its weather patterns, and its gravity. Understanding these fundamental aspects will be crucial for your survival. Hainul's skin showed a pattern that indicated deep thought. Will we be able to interact with humans directly? Yes, but carefully, Professor Dahyun explained. You'll be based at the International Xenological Research Center in Seoul. It's a facility designed to help non-human species adapt to Earth's conditions gradually. Young Mei's analytical mind was already at work. Professor, what's our success criterion? How do we know if we've learned enough? The professor's expression became serious. Your goal isn't just to survive on Earth or collect data. Your real mission is to understand why humans aren't just surviving on their death world. They're thriving on it. That understanding could change how we view species development across the galaxy. As the 3 students left the lecture hall, they each felt the weight of their assignment. They weren't just going to study a dangerous planet. They were going to try to understand how a species could turn deadly conditions into the foundation of their strength. In the following days, they spent countless hours preparing. Keita practiced moving in high-gravity simulations, his crystalline body adapting to the strain. Hainul worked on interpreting human emotional responses, learning to distinguish between fear, excitement, and determination. Young Mei compiled detailed statistical models of human survival rates in various Earth conditions, trying to understand the patterns in their seemingly chaotic behavior. Professor Dahyun watched their preparation with satisfaction. He knew that these three students, with their different perspectives and abilities, might finally help the galaxy understand why Earth was more than just a death world. It was a crucible that had forged humanity into something unique in the universe. As the week drew to a close, the three students gathered in the Academy's preparation chamber. Their environmental suits were ready, their monitoring equipment was calibrated, and their minds were filled with both excitement and apprehension. They were about to visit a planet that their people had long considered too dangerous to approach. Professor Dahyun looked at his three students with pride. "Remember," he said, "what you're about to experience might seem impossible at first, but keep an open mind. Sometimes the most dangerous places create the strongest survivors." The room hummed with energy as the transportation systems powered up. Earth awaited them, with all its deadly beauty and impossible contradictions. The real question wasn't whether they could survive their visit. It was whether they could understand how humans had turned their deadly home into the foundation of their greatness. The spaceship entered Earth's orbit slowly. Inside, Kita, Hamnul, and Youngmai watched the blue planet grow larger through their viewing screen. Even from space, Earth looked different from other planets they had studied. The swirling white clouds, vast blue oceans, and green-brown landmasses created patterns that kept changing. "The gravity controls are now adjusting to Earth normal," Professor Dahyun announced. "You'll feel heavier in a few moments." Kita's crystalline body creaked as the gravity increased. Even with his strong structure, he felt the pull. "This is intense," he said, his voice strained. Hanul's color shifted to a worried orange. Her environmental suit helped support her body, but she still felt like she was being pulled down. Young Mi's 6 eyes blinked rapidly as she used all her analytical power to adjust her balance. "Don't worry," Professor Dahyun said with a gentle smile. "Your bodies will adjust. We'll take it slow." The ship landed at the International Xenological Research Center in Seoul. The building was massive, with special areas designed to help alien visitors adjust to Earth's conditions. The landing pad was inside a large dome where the gravity and atmosphere could be controlled. As they prepared to leave the ship, they met their human guide. Ji-ho was a tall man with friendly eyes and a calm voice. He wore the green uniform of Earth's xenobiology team. "Welcome to Earth," Ji-ho said, bowing slightly. "We'll start in the adjustment chamber. It lets us control the conditions so you can get used to Earth step by step." The three alien students followed Ji-ho into a large room with white walls. The room had different sections, each meant to help visitors adapt to a different Earth condition. Kita noticed that his environmental suit felt heavier with each step. "First, let's work on movement," Ji-ho explained. "Earth's gravity is stronger than what most species are used to, but your suits will help you adjust." They spent the next few hours learning to walk in Earth's gravity. Kita's crystalline legs became stronger as they practiced. Haenul's suit had special supports that helped her move smoothly. Young Mei calculated exactly how much force she needed for each step. "You're all doing very well," Ji-ho said. "Now let's try something interesting. Look through that window." The students moved to a large window that looked out into another part of the facility. They saw humans walking around normally without any special equipment. Some were carrying heavy boxes, others were running, and a few were even jumping. "How do they move so easily?" Kita asked, his crystal body reflecting his amazement. "Humans evolved in this gravity," Professor Dahyun explained. "Their bones and muscles are perfectly adapted to it." Young Mei was recording everything with all 6 eyes. "Their muscle efficiency is remarkable. They use less energy than I calculated they would need." Haenul's skin showed patterns of deep blue interest. "They seem so relaxed. On my world, moving in such strong gravity would cause great stress." Ji-ho led them to the next chamber. This one was designed to help them experience Earth's temperature changes. The room could become warmer or cooler, letting them feel how Earth's weather worked. "On Earth, temperature can change a lot," Ji-ho explained. "In some places, It can be very hot during the day and very cold at night. The chamber's temperature began to rise slowly. The alien students watched in surprise as Jai-Ho took off his jacket, showing how humans could adjust to temperature changes simply by changing their clothes. Humans don't need environmental suits for this, Kite asked, amazed. His crystalline body was designed for much more stable temperatures. No, Jai-Ho replied. Our bodies can adjust to many different temperatures. We sweat when it's hot and shiver when it's cold. These natural responses help us stay alive. Youngmei was fascinated. Your bodies automatically maintain the right temperature, without any technology. That's right, Professor Dahyun said. Humans developed these abilities over millions of years of evolution on Earth. As they continued their training, they learned more surprising things about humans. They watched through special windows as humans ate lunch in the facility's cafeteria. The variety of foods humans could eat amazed them. Your species can eat both plants and animals, Hey Newell asked through her translator. Her skin showed swirling patterns of curiosity. Yes, Jai-Ho explained. We can digest many different types of food. This helps us survive in many different environments. The next few days were full of new discoveries. They learned that humans could heal from injuries that would kill most species. They saw how humans used tools to solve problems they couldn't handle with their bodies alone. Most surprisingly, they saw how humans stayed calm in conditions that seemed terrifying to other species. One day, while they were in the observation room, they saw something that shocked them. A human worker accidentally dropped a heavy box on their foot. Instead of panicking, the human just said something, which their translators decided not to translate, picked up the box, and kept working. Did that human just ignore an injury? Kite asked, his crystal body showing patterns of concern. Not exactly, Jai-Ho explained. They felt the pain, but humans can often keep working even when hurt. It's another way we adapted to Earth's dangers. Youngmi's analytical mind was working hard to understand this, so humans don't shut down when damaged. They can continue functioning. Usually, yes, Professor Dahyun said. Pain tells us we're hurt, but it doesn't stop us from doing what needs to be done. Haenul's skin showed patterns of deep thought. I'm beginning to understand. Humans don't just survive Earth's conditions, they're built for them. As their first week on Earth continued, the alien students started to see humans differently. They weren't just surviving on a deadly planet. Earth's challenges had shaped humans into something unique. Kita learned that his crystalline body, while stronger than human flesh, wasn't as flexible or adaptable. Haenul discovered that human emotions weren't simple reactions to danger, but complex responses that helped them survive. Youngmi found that her logical calculations couldn't fully explain how humans overcame problems. One evening, as they reviewed their notes, Professor Dahyun asked them what they had learned so far. Humans are much stronger than they look, Kita said, his crystal surface reflecting the room's lights. Not in pure strength, but in their ability to keep going. Haenul's skin showed a pattern of deep respect. They feel fear, but they don't let it stop them. They use their emotions to help them survive. Young Ms. Six Eyes focused on her data screen. The numbers don't make sense, Professor. By all logical calculations, humans shouldn't be able to do what they do. But they do it anyway. Jai-Ho smiled at their observations. That's what makes Earth special. It's not just a death world. It's a place that created a species that refuses to accept limitations. As they prepared for their first visit to the outside world, the alien students felt both nervous and excited. They had learned a lot, but they knew there was much more to understand about humans and their deadly home world. Professor Dahyun looked at his students with pride. They were beginning to see past their own species' limitations. They were starting to understand that what made Earth dangerous was exactly what made humans remarkable. Tomorrow, Jai-Ho announced, we'll take our first trip outside the facility. You'll get to experience real Earth conditions, carefully controlled, of course. Are you ready? The three students looked at each other. They were nervous, but they also felt something new, a feeling they had noticed in humans. It was a mix of fear and excitement, a desire to face challenges and learn from them. Yes, they said together, each in their own way. Kita's crystal body glowed with determination. Hainul's skin showed bright patterns of courage, and Young Mi's eyes focused with scientific curiosity. As they returned to their special quarters for the night, they thought about what they had learned. Earth wasn't just a planet that tried to kill its inhabitants. It was a teacher that had forced humans to become incredibly adaptable. The alien students were starting to understand that sometimes the hardest places to live could create the strongest life forms. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and discoveries. But for now, they had already learned something important. What their species saw as deadly conditions, humans saw as opportunities to grow stronger. The morning sun shone brightly over the mountains near Seoul. Kita, Hainul, and Young Mi stood at the entrance of the research center, wearing their improved environmental suits. After 2 weeks of training, they were ready for their first real field study. Today we'll visit a mountain trail, Jae-ho explained, checking their safety equipment one last time. It's a good place to see how humans interact with natural environments. Professor Da-hyun stood nearby, watching his students prepare. Remember your training. Stay calm and observe everything. The group took a special vehicle designed for alien visitors. As they drove up the mountain road, the alien students watched the landscape change. Trees grew taller, the air became thinner, and the temperature dropped slightly. Look at all the plant life, Kita said, his crystal body reflecting the sunlight. On most Deathworlds, plants are small and tough, but here they grow so tall. Hainul's skin showed patterns of wonder as she watched humans hiking on nearby trails. Some carried heavy backpacks, while others helped children over rough patches. They'd bring their young ones here. Isn't that dangerous? Humans believe experiencing nature helps their children grow stronger, Jae-ho explained. They call it character building. Young Mi's 6 eyes moved constantly, recording everything. The humans are sweating as they climb, but their vital signs show they're not in distress. They seem to be enjoying the physical challenge. The vehicle stopped at a viewing point halfway up the mountain. The aliens could see the city spread out below them, a mix of old temples and modern buildings. Humans walked around the viewing area, taking pictures and eating snacks. We'll start our field observations here, Jae-ho said. Watch how different humans handle the altitude and terrain. For the next hour, the alien students observed and took notes. They saw elderly humans walking carefully but steadily on the rough ground. They watched children running and playing despite the thin air. They noticed how humans helped each other on difficult parts of the trail. Then the ground started to shake. Earthquake. Jae-ho called out. His voice was calm but firm. Everyone moved to the designated safety area. The alien students froze for a moment, their bodies registering the danger. But what amazed them most was how the humans reacted. Instead of panicking, they moved quickly and purposefully. Parents picked up children, strangers helped elderly people, and everyone headed for the safe zone. This way, Jae-ho said, guiding the alien students. The viewing point has a reinforced shelter for earthquakes. Standard safety feature on Earth. Kita's crystalline body vibrated with the Earth's movement. You build places expecting disasters. Of course, Jae-ho replied, helping them into the shelter. On Earth, you have to be ready for anything. The shelter was a strong room built into the mountain. Inside, humans sat calmly, some comforting children, others checking their phones for earthquake updates. No one seemed terrified, just cautious and alert. Hainul's skin showed patterns of amazement. How are they so calm? The ground is moving. This isn't their first earthquake, Professor Da-hyun explained. Most humans here have experienced several. They know what to do. Young Mi was analyzing everything with her 6 eyes. The humans are organized. They're following emergency procedures they learned before. They prepared for this. The earthquake lasted only a few minutes, but it taught the alien students more about humans than weeks of safe observation could have. They watched as humans immediately began helping each other after the shaking stopped. People shared water and snacks, helped clean up fallen items, and checked if anyone was hurt. "Is everyone okay?" Jai-ho asked, looking around the shelter. The alien students nodded, still amazed by what they had seen. Outside, the humans were already working to handle the situation. Emergency vehicles arrived quickly. Park rangers checked the trails for damage. People used their phones to tell family and friends they were safe. "I don't understand," Kita said, watching the activity. "On my world, a natural disaster would shut everything down. But humans just keep going." "That's because we expect these things to happen," Jai-ho explained. "Earth taught us to be ready and to help each other when they do." Hae-Nul's translator worked hard to keep up as her skin displayed complex patterns of realization. They don't just survive disasters, they learn from them. Each event makes them better at handling the next one. Young-Mei was updating her data calculations. "The humans' response time was 300% faster than my models predicted. Their cooperation levels were also much higher than expected." As they watched, a group of human children nearby had already returned to playing, their parents watching carefully but not stopping them. The children were excitedly talking about how cool the earthquake was. "They're treating it like an adventure," Kita noted, his crystal surface showing patterns of disbelief. "Not a deadly event. Humans, especially children, are very adaptable," Professor Dahyun said. "They can turn scary experiences into learning opportunities." The rest of the day showed the alien students even more surprising things about humans. They watched rescue teams check the entire area, just in case someone needed help. They saw how quickly humans repaired minor damage to the trails. They noticed how people shared information and resources without being asked. "I think I'm starting to understand something," Hae-Nul said as they prepared to return to the research center. Her skin showed the colors of deep thought. Earth's dangers don't make humans weak with fear. They make humans strong by working together. Keita nodded, his crystal body catching the late afternoon sun. "Every disaster is like a test. Humans use each one to practice and improve." "The statistics are clear," Young-Mei added, her 6 eyes processing the day's data. "Humans don't just survive Earth's challenges. They use them to become better at surviving the next one." As they drove back to the research center, Jai-ho smiled at their observations. "Today you saw something important. Earth isn't just a dangerous planet that humans survive on. It's a training ground that made us who we are." The alien students were quiet on the ride back, each thinking about what they had learned. They had come to study how humans survived on a Deathworld. Instead, they were learning how a Deathworld had created a species that turned danger into strength. That evening, as they wrote their research notes, Professor Dahyun asked them what they thought was the most surprising thing they had seen. "The children," Kita said immediately. "On my world, we protect our young from all danger, but humans let their children experience controlled risks." "The cooperation," Hae-Nul added, her skin showing warm colors of admiration. "Humans don't face dangers alone. They become stronger by helping each other." "The preparation," Young-Mei concluded, her eyes still processing data. "Humans don't just react to dangers. They expect them and plan for them. It's part of their daily life." Professor Dahyun nodded approvingly. "You're beginning to see why Earth is more than just a death world. It's a place that taught its inhabitants to be resourceful, cooperative, and adaptable." As the alien students prepared for sleep that night, they realized their view of Earth and humans had changed. What they once saw as just a dangerous planet was actually a complex training system. Earth's challenges had shaped humans into a species that didn't just endure danger. They learned from it, prepared for it, and helped each other through it. Tomorrow would bring more observations and discoveries, but today had taught them something they would never forget. On Earth, survival wasn't just about being strong or tough. It was about being adaptable, working together, and never giving up. lessons that humans had learned from their demanding homeworld. 1 month had passed since Kita, Haynul, and Youngmei first arrived on Earth. Now they stood in the grand presentation hall of the Galactic Academy, ready to share what they had learned. The room was filled with scientists, teachers, and students from many different species, all eager to hear about their research on Earth. Professor Dahyun sat in the front row, smiling encouragingly at his students. Jeho had come from Earth to support them too. The 3 alien students had changed during their time on Earth. They stood taller, moved more confidently, and showed no fear of the crowd. Kita stepped forward first, his crystal body glowing with excitement. "We went to Earth thinking we would study how humans survive on a death world," he began. "Instead, we learned that calling Earth a death world is like calling a school a prison. It misses the whole point." The audience murmured in surprise. Haynul moved forward next, her skin showing patterns of confidence as she spoke through her translator. "Earth is not just a dangerous planet. It is a teacher. Every challenge it presents has helped humans become stronger, smarter, and more adaptable." Youngmei activated a large display screen, showing data from their research. All 6 of her eyes focused on the audience as she explained. "Look at these numbers. Humans don't just survive Earth's dangers. They learn from them. Each disaster makes them better at handling the next one." The 3 students took turns sharing what they had discovered. They showed videos of humans helping each other during the earthquake. They presented data about how humans adapted to different temperatures and environments. They explained how humans turned dangerous situations into learning experiences. "When we first arrived on Earth," Kita said, "we were amazed that humans could walk around without protection. Their bodies seemed so fragile compared to my crystal structure. But we were wrong about what makes something strong." Haynul's skin rippled with patterns of understanding as she continued. "Humans are strong because they can change and adapt. When they face a new challenge, they don't give up. They work together to find solutions." Youngmei showed more data on the screen. "Our studies show that human children learn to handle dangerous situations early. They don't avoid all risks. They learn which risks are worth taking. This makes them braver and smarter as they grow up." The audience watched in fascination as the students shared their experiences. They showed how humans built cities that could withstand earthquakes, how they created systems to warn each other about dangers, and how they taught their children to be careful but not fearful. "But the most amazing thing we learned," Kita said, his crystal surface sparkling, "was how humans work together. When danger comes, they don't think only about themselves. They help each other." Haynul displayed images of humans during various emergencies. "Look at how they react to disasters. They have special teams ready to help. They share food and water. They check on their neighbors. Every dangerous situation brings them closer together." Youngmei added her analysis. "The data shows something remarkable. In most species, danger makes individuals compete with each other. But humans? Danger makes them cooperate more. They become stronger as a group." Professor Dahyun watched proudly as his students explained how Earth had shaped humanity. They showed how living on a challenging planet had forced humans to become inventive, cooperative, and resilient. "We need to change how we think about Earth," Kite announced. "It's not just a death world. It's a training ground that created a remarkable species." Haynul's skin glowed with excitement as she continued. "Humans don't see Earth's dangers as obstacles. They see them as challenges to overcome. Each challenge makes them stronger and brings them closer together." Youngmei showed their final calculations. "Our research proves that Earth's harsh conditions didn't hold humans back. Instead, these conditions pushed them to develop faster than any other known species." The audience was silent for a moment, taking in this new way of thinking about Earth and humans. Then someone asked a question. "But isn't Earth still too dangerous for most species?" Keita nodded, his crystal body catching the light. "Yes, Earth is dangerous for most of us. But that's exactly what makes humans special. They grew up on a planet that never let them become weak or complacent. Haynul added, her skin showing patterns of wisdom. Think about it like this. Earth taught humans to be strong by never making things easy for them. It taught them to be smart by giving them problems to solve. It taught them to work together by making cooperation necessary for survival. Youngmate displayed their final conclusion. Our research shows that humans aren't victims of their Deathworld. They are its greatest success story. Earth's challenges created a species that refuses to accept impossible situations. Professor Dahyun stood up and joined his students. What have you learned about yourselves during this research? He asked. Kite touched his crystal surface thoughtfully. I learned that true strength isn't about having the toughest body. It's about being able to adapt and keep going when things get hard. Haynul's skin showed deep, meaningful colors. I learned that emotions aren't weaknesses. Humans use their feelings, their fear, their love, their hope, to help them survive and help each other. Young Ms. Six Eyes blinked in sequence. I learned that sometimes the most logical solution isn't the best one. Humans often succeed by trying things that shouldn't work, simply because they refuse to give up. As the presentation ended, the audience had many questions, but one thing was clear. These three students had discovered something important about Earth and humanity. They had learned that what makes a species strong isn't the absence of challenges, but how they face those challenges. Later that evening, as they celebrated their successful presentation, Jiho shared some news. The Academy wants to send more students to Earth. Your research has shown everyone a new way of thinking about humans and their home world. Professor Dahyun smiled at his students. You've done more than just study Earth, he said. You've helped bridge the gap between humans and other species. You've shown that there's much we can learn from each other. The three students looked at each other, remembering their journey. They had arrived on Earth expecting to study how humans survived on a Deathworld. Instead, they had learned how Earth had created a species that turned challenges into opportunities, danger into strength, and cooperation into survival. As they watched the Earth appear as a bright blue dot in the night sky, they knew they would never see it the same way again. It wasn't just a Deathworld anymore. It was a place that proved that sometimes the hardest challenges create the strongest people, and that was a lesson worth sharing with the whole galaxy.